It's 4 o'clock on a Monday. You know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Whoops, there's my audience. This week, starring special guest star Mr. James Kocian. Yeah, woohoo! Oh, yeah, there's the microphone. Hi.
New to this?
I am. Yeah. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm thrilled to have you. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, James is a very dear friend of mine who for many, many years was a taxi member, and James is one of the people that actually listened to what we talk about here and has found success in various forms over the years. You know what? Why don't you give him the bio rather than having me read it? I think I included it in the mailer, but not everybody is going to see that mailer.
Man, it sounds so much better when you say it.
Well,
because then I sound like humble brags, and I don't like that. Okay, so this is what I'll say.
Let's talk about the Christian side of the industry first, and then the pop stuff.
Okay. So I'll just give you my brief thing. So I was doing music for a while when I was younger. I was an artist and signed with a small label, and I was like, now I'm going to be a star. And I worked really hard, and I didn't listen to critiques, and I thought I knew everything, and I wanted to be the guy that did everything and got all the credit. And shocker, I didn't break through.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Never could break through. And then I was frustrated and disappointed and hurt. And so I just let it go for a while. And I'm like, I don't think that this is for me. I'm not talented enough.
I am listening. Sorry, I forgot to do one of my sayings. Yeah.
So why are you on Facebook right now?
I think my volume is.
You can get Snapchat on your computer now. That's weird. Anyway.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Whenever you're done. I mean, I know it's a very engaging story how you changed my life, but really, I can. Okay. I'll wait.
I'm done.
Okay. Cool.
Now, whoa,
cool.
I'm way done. Man, the audio's like super loud today. All right.
Okay. So anyway, I just let it go, and I stopped doing music. And
where were you living at the time?
In Green Bay.
Oh, Green Bay, Wisconsin. So
Green Bay, born and raised.
He appears to be smart, but anybody who lives in that kind of cold, I mean, Green Bay is a lovely town.
It makes you tough, man.
The people are cool.
It toughens you up.
It's totally like everything good about America lives in Green Bay.
Oh, okay, good. I thought you were going to slam me.
But it's cold.
It's very cold.
Dude, it's so cold.
It's terribly cold. So, I was going to Packer games, and we're doing just the family stuff, and I'm thinking, what am I really doing, like, for my legacy? Not my legacy, but for my wife and kids, and, like, going to games and stuff is fun, but I think being able to do music is a gift, and I want to be a good steward of that gift, and I want to do the best that I can do with it. So I just made a list of people that I knew, and I reached out to them and said, I want to give it 1 year. I want to give 1 year of trying everything I know to try in music and just see what happens.
So just start out like literally emailing and calling people, just going.
Yeah, anybody that had helped me or mentored, from Michael Anderson to who had mentored me years ago. And I just reached back out to people and just kind of told them where I was at and what I was.
Was this before or after you joined Taxi?
Well, joining Taxi was one of the things I did.
Oh, okay.
So because
I didn't know that you knew Michael Anderson before you were a Taxi member.
I did.
One of the coolest guys ever.
Yeah, he helped me so much. But I looked at Taxi and I'm like, $250 a year, like what a rip. Like, I mean, sorry, but
that's okay.
I mean, this is what I was thinking. Like, right. I mean, what are they going to do for me? And then I got to pay all this extra money, and I don't know who these screeners are, and I don't know Michael Laskow, and they're in L.A., and, I'm in Green Bay, and there's nothing similar about that. So, but I thought, why do I get worked up about $250 for my career, and I can go to a Packers game and spend $250 for 3 hours? Like, what's wrong with my thinking here, right? This is 1 year of music. So I did, and I went all in. And I went all into Taxi, and I figured out a couple things about how to get forwards.
Yeah, but you're that kind of guy.
Yeah.
You're the kind of guy that when you take something on, you make a commitment. And you really take
I go
it
all
on.
in.
Yeah.
Like, I burn real hot when I commit to it, right? Like, real hot.
There's a song title.
Yeah, it is.
I burn real hot.
That's it, man. Probably outside my genre, but
no, I'm thinking like NASCAR.
Oh,
we
NASCAR!
Just had NASCAR
That's
listing come out
yeah, great. Give that to the members. That's
a
gift.
We just did.
So anyway, that was however many years ago, and you've changed my life. Taxi music changed my life. The Road Rally is where I met Rob and others.
Rob Shirelli.
Yep, who have mentored me and continue to speak into my life and teach me about music and about life, honestly. So I can't say enough about this organization and about you and everybody here. So it's a great community, man. Taxi's like the real deal. It works.
I didn't ask him. I literally did not ask him to say any of this stuff. Just
where's the $500 you promised?
Hang on.
Okay, cool.
No, I really didn't. And frankly, meeting Rob Shirelli, we were all out to dinner last night, and I can see how he looks at you like a brother, and that's the way he and I are. So it's amazing to me that I created something, not by accident, but I never imagined when I started Taxi that it would bring people together like it has, that the community would turn out like it has. I thought, like a lot of people perceive Taxi, it's like you put listings out there, requests for music, and people submit, but it's almost like the community has become more important than the actual submitting process, because a lot of deals get done through that community. A lot of relationships
100%.
Turn into stuff.
It is, and I think like the people that are really successful in Taxi are the ones that get into the community of Taxi, and don't just treat it like just another music submission service. Because you offer Taxi TV, you offer the rally, you offer the forums, you offer all these resources. There's a Facebook page, right? And like I'm on it every day, and I see these people that went ahead of me, the Paul Ottens and the Helen Austins of the world, and the people that I came up with, Barry French and Clay and and Pedro, and then I see the people coming after me. You know what I mean? And it's like
it is generational.
It is, yeah, totally. And you see the C.K. Barlows and Patty Bosses and these Ethans, and I mean these people are just incredible. Like they're Owen, and I mean they're just incredible people. And they're great musicians too, but they're great people, and they just keep reaching to help others.
It's like a self-selecting filter almost, because every name you just mentioned, all those people are really good people.
Exactly.
Each one of them individually is somebody that I would do a road trip with, because they're just good, cool people. And people try to give me credit, and I will
take it.
Well, no, I built the barn. And opened the doors, but I couldn't control who came to the party. And over the years, I saw that the party got bigger, and that the people that were the really good people tended to inspire other people to be really good people, and it's turned into a thing.
It is
exactly what you're talking about. That wasn't me. That was just I opened the doors.
But you created the recipe for it. Like you gave us the crock pot and gave us all the ingredients, and it did organically. It does organically continue to happen, but if you didn't give us the crock pot and all the ingredients, then we would all be a guy from Green Bay would still be waiting for inspiration to hit. Honestly, I probably wouldn't be doing it anymore, because there's only so long that you can go and smash your head against the same ceiling or wall and not have an outlet for music like you have given me and thousands of others.
Well, you had to earn it, so you had a little something to do with it.
A little bit,
and speaking of crock pots, has the Kocian family tried the Instant Pot yet? Jill?
That's above my pay grade. I'm not sure, Jill. Is that the thing you put in your nose for the allergies? That's disgusting.
It's the thing you buy at that store with the green cross on the front on Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Welcome to California.
What is that thing with an neti pot? Yeah, that's gross.
Oh, yeah, that's the thing you put in your nose. Goes in one side, comes out the other. Instant Pot, I totally digress because this is not a cooking show. I kept hearing people talk about it, so I bought one for my wife for Hanukkah, and she's like, dude, you don't give a woman appliances for Hanukkah. And I said, well, I did, because you get a present every night, so here, one of them is...
Got to pace yourself.
Yeah, it's an Instant Pot, exactly.
That's right. I can't start off with the BMW.
You don't get the diamond earrings every night.
That's right.
Or any night. So... Anyway, I got her an Instant Pot, and she handed it back to me. She literally said, you love to cook, you figure it out.
Perfect.
I got to tell you, you need an Instant Pot. It has my personal endorsement. You can take the chewiest, most rubbery piece of cheap beef or whatever, throw it in there with like a bag of
filet mignon.
Yeah, frozen vegetables and a cut up potato, and you hit the button for stew, add a cup of beef broth to it or something, and hit the button that says stew, and 35 minutes later you have amazing stew.
It sounds like it's targeted for men like us. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what Deborah thought. That's
maybe, I don't know, but I gotta say,
it works.
It's basically a timer, a programmed, whatever you call a pressure cooker.
Interesting.
So just saying. Anyway, there you go. A cooking tip on this week's episode.
Oh, no.
So yeah, no longer crock pot. It's an instant pot.
Right.
And sometimes I feel like the road rally is an instant pot of relationships, because
Cool.
you will see people meet other people in the registration line, which is interminably long.
Yes.
And yet nobody really complains about it, because a lot of relationships
Awesome.
are started in that line.
Agreed. 100% agree.
It's like you could come to the road rally and do nothing but stand in the registration line, and you already got your money's worth.
I agree. And there's energy. There's like energy as the day goes on. There's energy in the line, and
Yeah.
there's enthusiasm at the Westin. Like, it's incredible. The road rally is the best weekend of the year.
This year it's November 7th through the 10th in beautiful Los Angeles. So let's talk about what we are supposed to talk about, and we'll cover a lot of stuff beyond the 5 habits of successful musicians.
Okay.
But what's your number 1 habit? Do you want to see the list?
No, I've got it here.
Okay.
Well, I start every day with an Instant Pot. Taxi TV, brought to you by... No, I'm kidding. So first, before I do the list of 5 things, in my humble opinion, I want to talk about what's not on the list. And that first one is be talented. I think there's a lot of us, and I think of myself. I like to share about my failures and the way I used to think, and why I was always not getting the results that I wanted. Because I was under the impression that it was solely about talent. And if I had enough talent, then that would be what would carry me to my dreams.
It might be the biggest misconception amongst all musicians.
Agreed. But when I go to the rally and I teach the classes and I mentor people, I hear that back a lot, or a different version of that.
That they think that they're talented and that should be enough?
Yes, or their song is better than anything else in the or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So it's not about that. And when you get to the more professional level of music, being talented is a given. Like, everybody's talented. So to me, it kind of goes without saying that you need to practice your instrument, practice your melodies, that you need to write music every day, that you don't really worry about writing hits. Everybody wants to write a hit, but you need to write your song, like from your voice, from your perspective, your story, and then, have conversational lyrics that use universal and relatable appeal. Okay? So that's not, so being talented is not a part of this. So
Well,
I'm giving that away. I mean, it's a given.
You can't be untalented.
Agreed. But everybody's talented.
Right. You have to understand what your level of talent is and what
Yes.
you're talented at.
Yes.
Know your lane.
Yeah, know your lane.
Which actually might be in your notes.
It
I
is.
Probably stole
It is. You did, but it's okay. So the first one is to be a team player.
Okay.
That's my first one. Be a team player. Stephen Curry, a basketball reference. I know maybe not a lot of sports fans, but I'm a big one. He's widely considered the best shooter of all time in the NBA. The best shooter. And he just said last week, nothing great is done by yourself. Thought it was really interesting. He's like the greatest basketball shooter of all time. And his quote is, nothing great is done by yourself. So for me, just piggybacking what you just said, you find out what you do uniquely and do that. Do that thing, right? So there's a trap. And this is, again, like speaking from my life and my career, like I can do everything. I can produce the track, I can write, I can engineer, I can mix, I can master, I can record, I can do all these things. I can write the lyric and the melody and whatever, right? So what I realized, though, and especially from a guy like Rob, if the top pros use teams of experts in various disciplines, why wouldn't I? If I'm an amateur trying to get to a professional level, why do I think I can do it a different way than most every other professional I know does?
Everybody thinks that.
Yes. I will be the ruled, the odds defier.
Right.
Okay, don't think that way.
If you were going in for surgery, if God forbid you needed life-saving surgery, would you want the doctor operating on you that says, I'm not a man who is prone to, using convention. Right. I'm going to try a different approach to surgery that nobody else has ever done.
That's right.
You would be off that gurney running down the hall looking for another surgery.
Or as a type 1 diabetic, if they said, James, we're going to give you a new pancreas. And the doctor walked in and he said, you know what, I don't specialize in pancreases, but I see little kids. I'm a general practitioner for children. But I feel like we're going to figure this out. I don't want him, right? I want the specialist. So like some people are great at hooks and titles. There are some people that they are so gifted in writing unique titles. Some people are gifted in melody, just gifted. We see Jason Bloom's class, and he teaches melody, and it's like incredible, right? Mm-hmm. Some people's lyrics evoke emotion with literally every line.
Yep.
You can read the lyric and you can start crying, right? Or get excited or whatever. Some people play chords that inspire melodies. Some people program beats that make you move every time you hit play.
So that's why it takes 6 guys to write a pop hit now.
Exactly.
There's
right.
your team.
And there it is. So be a team player.
Yeah.
That's number one.
How long did it take you? How far into your career were you when you had that moment, that epiphany?
20-some years.
Oh, okay. So it took a minute.
Oh, it takes me a long time, man, to get something. I'm thick-headed.
Yeah, but when it sunk in, it really sunk in.
It did. And it's just being observant. Like, if somebody who is my mentor and somebody that I look up to so much and that's what they do, then I want to model what they do. Like, to me, that's just smart. Like, they already do what I do.
Right.
So if I just model what they do, that'll probably work.
But you're absolutely right. People feel entitled to reinvent the wheel because they think it's based on talent.
Yeah. Or
that song is that good.
Right. Like, I can't tell you how many times I talk about rewriting lyrics and rewriting songs and how long it takes, how long a process. And inevitably, every time somebody says, well, what about Roxanne? And I'm like, okay. There's always an exception to the rule. But if 99% of the time, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like, it's not always inspiration. Like, there's science behind it. So you have, like, the inspiration, and you got to go back and edit, and you got to look at the perspective. Did my perspective change in the song? And is the grammar right? And does it make sense? And
see, that all requires work.
It does.
Recently I sent out an email about last week's episode of Taxi TV, which many of you guys watched. And we had Martin Tichy on, who was demonstrating the Vienna Symphonic Library.
Cool.
Excuse me, their smart orchestra. And so because it's the smart orchestra that makes things easier for a good keyboard player, but somebody who doesn't have the need to learn all the programming and things that you need to do to really work well with a sophisticated library. The subject line I wrote in that email was The Lazy Man's Guide to Orchestral something or other.
Right.
It got one of the highest open rates we've had in a long time because people are lazy, myself included.
Right.
I'm not pointing fingers. I'm saying, look, nobody wants to. You don't want to do work you don't have to do. So if somebody says, I've got an easier way, you're going to check that out. But they're really, I've only met one person in my 40-year career in the music industry. One person who arrived in town with the goal of getting a record deal and within like 30 to 90 days got a record deal in a major label. He's now a screener here.
That's cool.
He literally got off the bus and got a deal.
Wow.
Anyway,
crazy.
So yeah, that is not by any stretch of the
exception.
Yeah.
Right. There's always an exception.
Right, and that's not going to happen for you. Statistically, it's not going to happen. So
stick with the odds.
Please continue.
Okay, so number 2 is persevere, to be passionate and be patient. There's a great quote from Winston Churchill that says, success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. I remember...
Say that one more time.
Yeah,
I want to absorb that.
Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts. I remember we were vacationing in the Bahamas, and I was waiting. I've never told this story. I was waiting for a critique to come back.
From Taxi?
Yes.
Okay.
And every day, throughout the day, there was only one spot at this resort where I could get my internet. I would leave whatever we were doing, a beach, dinner, to see if I got a forward or return.
Oh man, now I feel bad.
Yeah, thank you.
But
that's a glimpse into how obsessive taxi members are, like me. And it never came that week. And I was like, the whole trip is ruined. I'm kidding. It wasn't. It was still awesome. But there's overwhelmingly more returns than forwards, and it hurts, man. It always hurts, and no matter how nicely you try to say it, it's hard and it stings. And so you just let it sting. And then, I've got some strategies that I can share and that I do share about what to do so maybe next time around you can get a forward.
Did you understand at that point in time when it still stung, and I'm sure it still stings, but that it wasn't you being judged, it was just a piece of your work output?
No, I didn't understand that at all. Absolutely not. It
If
felt
you
like a personal critique.
If you waxed somebody's car, wax on, wax off, and at the end they went, you know, you missed a piece of chrome on the bumper,
right?
You wouldn't take that personally.
I wouldn't, but those were my words and my heart and my passion that I put into that, and I believed in that thing. Wax I just bought at a store.
Right.
But if I had created that wax out of nothing, and it was like I was sharing that wax, it was like my family, you know, secret wax, and then you walked up and you're like, this wax sucks. I'd be like, geez, guy.
Wax off.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I didn't understand that. I know that to be true,
yeah.
That a professional critique is not a personal criticism. And the sooner that I was able to understand that in my career, things change. Things absolutely change. So, but perseverance is everything. So work ethic, no matter a circumstance. Again, these are things that changed me.
Is this? Oh, we're still on number
perseverance.
2.
Yep.
Okay, number 2.
So, you know, it's really important to start working. So I found out what the requirement was for a major label artist if I wanted to be a writer on a publishing contract, and how many songs per year that I had to turn in. And so then I put myself under that same guideline, but I wasn't signed. But I thought, well, I want to be signed. And if I write one song a month, and it's not one song, it's like one song that can get cut.
Right.
Right.
Just so you guys know, when you're signed to a major publishing company, they require a song a month, 12 songs that you wrote solo. If you're co-writing, then it's 24.
If there's 3s, it's 36.
Right.
And those are songs like that are like competitive in the marketplace. That,
right. Pitchable to a major label artist, and you're competing with the other top-of-the-line writers.
Right. And so it might take 10 songs to get that one.
Right.
Right? So I put myself under those guidelines because I realized that hopefully when, but not if, I made it there, I had to be used to that kind of output. Because I think, again, there's a mentality that says, once I get the deal, then I'll then I'll spend more time in my music. But it's like an athlete saying, once I get to the NFL, then I'll start working out. Like, you got to work out as if you're already there.
It's funny hearing it, but it's nobody laughs at him or herself when they have those thoughts.
Yeah, totally.
It's totally real to them.
Yeah, exactly. And so, you know, you can't start working when you get the break. The breaks come with the work. Number 3 is be reliable and follow through. Again, everyone's talented.
I was just going to say, it's not enough to just be talented.
It's not. So, like, a lot of my mentors taught me to make the next person's job easier. And so what can I do to make, if I'm going to send Rob a mix, like, what can I do that I know is going to work for him so he doesn't have to go through all the stems and the stems are screwed up, or whatever the thing I'm working on. I try to be very cognizant of what is the next person in line going to do, and am I making it harder or easier for them? So here's a simple example, but if I have to ask somebody over and over to complete a simple task I originally asked for, and they give me excuses about why it can't be done, I can't work with them. And not because, like, my time is more important than anybody else's, but this has just recently come up again with something as simple as photos for somebody that I was a group, and I'm like, this is the kind of look that I'm thinking, and here I gave them a specific example, and it wasn't happening in a timely way, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm spending a lot of time trying to do this thing before they're even signed. Like, what is that a sign of?
Yeah,
right.
The way it's going to be after they're signed.
The way it's going to be. So, to me, that's more like babysitting or parenting, and I'm already a parent.
I feel at Taxi, we're in a very unique position as a staff of people, and we do a lot of hand-holding and we do a lot of babysitting, and I never look at the people who require that babysitting with disdain, more bewilderment, because our job is part of our job is to teach people these things.
Yeah.
But if I were trying to make it in any industry, whether it be real estate or music or football or whatever, you would think that you would be obsessed with every minute of your day trying to learn what all those touch points are, what all the rules and regulations and the things that make you successful, and just do those things rather than continuing to float aimlessly on and wait for somebody else to solve the problem.
Exactly.
So
I don't disagree.
We get it. You know,
Yeah.
we deal with that a lot here, and we realize it's part of our job. And the good news is, some of our children, and pointing at you, children in quotes, turn out really, really well because we at least pointed them down the right path.
Yeah.
And the smart, hardworking ones go, oh.
Yeah, this works.
I see the goal. I see the path. All I have to do is stay on it and keep walking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. The next one, number 4, is to be teachable. So Rob Shirley has taught me this probably more than anyone, and he does it in very subtle ways. When Rob has, a lot of what he taught me isn't like, all right, James, here's the deal. But I just watch what he does and listen to what he says because he's a really smart guy. So Rob is an expert in every sense of engineering and production. Yet I have found in relationship with him that he's constantly seeking to learn. And I'm thinking, you know, he just won another Grammy and he has all these.
Just so you guys know, there we are, 3 fingers. Rob, we were having dinner last night. I knew Rob was nominated for some Grammys. I had no idea he won a Grammy. This is how humble he is. He didn't bother to pick up the phone and call me. We live 4 houses away from each other. We spend holidays together. Did he call or text or anything? I won a Grammy. I didn't even know he was nominated. I don't think. But
Anyway. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah. So, you know, he's willing to let others who he trusts listen and analyze and offer their insights. So if he, at times in the past, has sent me a mix and I'm thinking, why are you even, like, this is ridiculous to me, right? Like, you're this guy and I'm like this dude, and but he trusts that I'm going to tell him the truth, my opinion. I mean, it might not be right, but he knows I'm going to be honest with him because he trusts me. And that level of willingness to learn and not be, well, I'm the expert and I'm the this, like, that just speaks so powerfully. That's like such a level of humility. And I try to model myself after these kinds of people. So I want to be teachable for the people that come up with me or behind me or ahead of me. Like, I feel like everybody's got something to give. You know, I can learn, like when I'm mentoring people at the rally, I'm telling them what I think may help them, but I'm also trying to learn something from them.
Well, you're well known as a giver. James frequently does the drive-by mentoring at night.
The song bar,
the song bar thing, and you know they're supposed to wrap it up at 9 or 9:30, and James will go till midnight or later.
Oh,
easily.
No, midnight. Come on. The first time it was 1. Last year it was 2:30. This year it was 3:30.
Oh my gosh.
It was 3:30. But here's the thing.
Do people keep lining up, even though, I mean, we always tell somebody you're the last person in line.
Well, what I do is I take my sheet of paper, it ends at 9, and then people come up and they're like, oh, and then I just start writing more times every 10 minutes. And they're like, really, you'll stay? And I said, that's my gig. So so the reason that I stay until 9:30 is because I know the feeling.
Or till 3:30.
Yeah, 3:30.
Yeah.
As I know the feeling of like sitting in the ballroom and just praying, like I just want them to pull my song. I just want somebody to hear it. Not because I want to be like this major superstar, but because like these people know music.
Right.
And I don't really know where my stuff fits in, or even if it does at all. Like, is this some crazy pipe dream? And like, just like, oh, please, and my heart's beating and my pulse is racing, and nobody pulls my song, right?
So interestingly enough, though, you're not sitting there waiting for them to pull your song so you can be discovered,
right,
or told what a genius you are.
Right.
You're definitely craving insight.
Yeah, more critique, honestly, right?
Wow.
So, but you know, that never happened to me in my years as attending as a member. So I feel like I'm willing to be sleep deprived and overextended, not because of like how great I am, but because people have done that for me too. People have you've extended yourself, Rob, people in Nashville, like people at the rally. It's incredible. So I want to give back. And again,
it's easy to give to a guy like you because you know it's not wasted effort.
No, I appreciate
it. That's part of the equation. It's anybody can be a giver to everybody,
right?
But you really do pick and choose the people, even the best among us. Pick and choose the people we want to give to because you don't want to waste the bullet, so to speak. You know,
right?
So because of your makeup, you engender that in people they want to give to you.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
I think we should hug right now. Should we? Let's hug. First ever Taxi TV hug. Okay, so but let me tell you kind of the flip side of it though. So I'm there.
You smell good.
Thank you. Now I feel awkward. Okay. Anyway, I'm kidding. So I'm writing it down, and the amount of people that come in, and then they see that it's 1 or 2, and they're like, "This is 1 a.m," and I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "That's too late," and I'm just like. I'm just dumbfounded.
Right.
Not
Too
again
late
because
for,
not
for
because
moving
like,
your career forward.
Yeah, not because I'm going to change your life, but like, aren't you here for that? Like, I think when I was a member, I would have stayed up all night, every night, for the chance to talk to a pro that might offer any insight, or maybe somebody that I could develop a relationship with.
Right, but these folks are essentially saying, "Oh, it's not convenient for me to have that bestowed upon me."
And they're telling me, they're saying my time is more important than yours. And that is just a great indicator. So the people that stay really late, I'm always like really rooting for them because they get it.
See,
and I'm telling you
you
what.
see in them what we saw in you.
Exactly.
And still see.
And it pays because last year it worked, and the year before I found a song, and last year I found I found 2 different people in the wee hours of the morning, and it's like, these are the people.
Now, there is a caveat.
What?
If they're from Australia,
yeah,
you have to cut them some slack when they say they can't stay past 1 a.m.
Yeah,
because
right.
I am amazed by the people that fly from Asia, Australia, come to the road rally. I've gone on trips that have been like a 12 to 15 hour flight. You get to that other country, you're stupid for 3 days. You literally walk around, boo, 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 boo. And these people get off the plane and jump right in. The road rally, if you came there, if you lived 15 minutes away and just arrived on scene, you would still be mentally and physically exhausted because there's just so much input over the course of a weekend.
Right.
So anybody that's got an Australia, anybody that says, would you like can I throw another shrimp on the Barbie?
Yeah.
Don't
give them a break?
Yeah, just saying.
Australians, free pass next year. So anyway, back to the last point this is a big one for me. Don't accept excuses from yourself.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But sickness, I have type 1 diabetes. I've had it for 32 years.
Let's talk about that. I didn't know if you wanted to mention that or not, but when I met James 5 years, 6 years ago, whatever, he actually said the words to me, and I've never forgotten this. He said, "I've never had a day in my life where I felt good and healthy." It's hard for those of us who don't have to live with that to imagine that.
Right.
And the fact that you are still such a ball of positive energy and give so much to your family and give so much to your career is astonishing to me. What is it inside of you that drives that?
That's a great question. I think it's my faith, actually.
And James is a Christian. If you look on any of his promotional stuff, it'll probably say, "I'm a believer."
Yeah.
And at a time when there are times in America now where it's like politically uncool to say that you've got faith.
Right.
I don't personally agree with that, and I'm not here to judge or make this a political show at all, but I know you well enough to know that it's the glowing thing inside of you that makes you James Kocian.
That's
it's easy for anybody that spends more than an hour with you to see that about you.
Thank you. So. That means a lot to me. I'm verklempt. I'm kidding. So sickness is a thing, right? And it's something that a lot of people that we face. And I just have a heart for the underdog. Mm-hmm. I have the heart for people that have struggled with sickness or addiction or divorce or like just that struggle with life. And I just find a humility in people that I connect to, that I'm drawn to, and I just love to be in people's corner that are real, right? So family can be another excuse that we give about why we can't work on our music.
That's a tough one.
That's a really tough one.
Like do you tuck the kids into bed or help at bath time or story time, all that stuff, or do you go work on your music?
No, the answer is yes, because your family has to come before your career, right? You don't want to have your career at the sake of your family, but the two can coexist.
Do you know Randon Purcell?
I don't.
I have to introduce you guys at the upcoming road rally, November 7th through the 10th in Los Angeles.
Weston, LAX. Book now.
Randon has the best solution of all. He's primarily an orchestral score type of
cool
guy,
cool.
and really straight shooter. He gets up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
And he gets 3 hours of solid music work in before his family is up and about.
Right.
So that's how he gives his family their due and gives his music its due.
There's a lot of up-and-comers in taxi that are doing this thing. They hashtag the 5 a.m. club, and they get up and they do their music, and then they do their jobs and, you know, have their family time.
That's probably inspired by Randon, who I just recently interviewed for the Taxi newsletter, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's where they learned that.
So cool.
He's the first guy in my recollection of 27 years of interviewing members that actually said, no, I do this every day. Not some days, not most days, but every day.
Every day. You don't take a day off. But family can be a thing, right? So, and you know this, and a lot of people know that my son Nate, who's sitting over there, he's the apple of my eye, but he's got a couple different disabilities, intellectual and physical, and it requires a lot of time and attention, and it could be easy to get wrapped up in that, and then, well, I don't have time to this, or I'm too tired to write or produce or whatever.
And you do give him 100%.
100%.
You guys as a family, you individually.
Yeah. Totally.
So
I mean, it's a blessing. So I don't want to come across any other way. But my point is like, I would know if I'm making that an excuse. That could be a crutch. Work can be a crutch if you're not doing music full time. And then your scheduling. You know, a lot of people will say, I don't have time. But if we really look at like where we're investing our time, you know, we can make time. It's like exercising. Like you can, if it's important to you, you'll do it. So don't accept excuses from yourself. That would be the biggest one for me.
That's a toughie.
It's really hard. Yeah, because we can kid I can kid everybody or deceive or manipulate or whatever in my life. Like, this is why I can't do this. But when I lay down in bed at night, I know that I can't lie to myself and say, you know, maybe I'm not sure I'm giving it all in music. I mean, if for example,
tough to be that honest with yourself.
And it's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
but you got to. I mean,
most people can't do it, honestly. And I vacillate between the two. I have moments where I'm spectacularly honest with myself and find the strength or the courage or whatever I need, and I'm absolutely guilty.
We all are.
As a matter of fact, I was supposed to write an email last night before I went to bed. After dinner, I got home. I talked to Deb and the kids, and then I think I fell asleep around 11 or midnight last night and didn't do it. And I woke up this morning and didn't do it. I didn't do it until I got here today because I was making excuses.
Got to eat the frog, man. I read this great book. I got it in the airport. It's called Eat the Frog, and it's like a business book, right? And it's like if you do the hardest thing that you got to do right away in the day, and when you do that, then it creates momentum going the day forward. Because I have a tendency to make lists, and then I put the hardest thing at the end, and then I dread it, and I dread it, and I dread it, and then when I finally do it, I'm like, what was I get so worked up about? Like, this is dumb. I should have done this a long time ago. So I've tried to change my mentality. But all of the stuff in life that works, like if you're a real estate agent in your 9-to-5 gig, like the way that you're a successful real estate agent is the same way you'll be a successful music pro. Like, I didn't understand that. For a long time, I was like, I think music is like some fairy dust thing where you just are talented and good looking, and then, you know, you'll be famous. Like, that's so dumb. I can't even believe I ever thought that. I can't believe I just said that. Can we delete that part?
No, but
crap, this is live.
Most people think that way.
Yeah.
Because it's art. You know what?
Yeah,
that's the
differentiator.
Is art isn't supposed to be a prescriptive thing. Art isn't supposed to be, you make music exactly like this.
Right.
And a lot of people wrestle with that with Taxi because they're responding to the listings and they feel like, well, this is stifling my art. It's stifling my artistic voice and who I am and the way I'd like to express stuff.
Right.
And actually, if you rise to the occasion and you're writing to these prescriptions that are asked for in the listings, the art is in how you tackle them.
Totally.
You know?
And the art is in saying, like, is in finding the universal emotion and finding a hook that's never been said before and saying it in a way that evokes emotion. Like, I wish I would have written that song. Like, that is such an incredible way to say this timeless message. And there's still countless of those out there. There's still countless songs.
So hard to do, but
It is.
you're absolutely right.
And you just got to keep digging. I mean, to me, that's where rewriting and, you know, I mean, when I approach a song now, I make a song map. I talk it out. So on my phone, I just write down hooks, and hooks to me are just titles. So I just write down titles, and here they are.
Yeah, hold it up to the camera.
You can't really see
They'll
them.
steal them.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That's no problem. But these are over like the last, I don't know, month or so, and these are just like titles, right? So, and then what I like to do, one of my songwriting member or coaches taught me to Google the title. So, you know, you don't want to write a song called, you know, Hello, right? I mean, Lionel Richie wrote it and then Adele wrote it, right? You don't want to write that song. Or Unbreak My Heart. Like, Diane Warren retired that hook, so forget about it, right?
But maybe one of the greatest hooks of our lifetime.
Unbelievable. So I come up with an idea, and then we'll write the title in and then write lyric after it to see, has this been a hit for somebody else? And maybe it hasn't even been written yet. And if it hasn't been written, then it's like, okay, now I got something. And then I'll think it out. Before I just start writing, I'm like, okay, now I got my title, so now I know where I'm headed. But like, how do I want to set this up in the first verse? So, and I don't go with the first idea. So, because a lot of times, again, as a intermediate or beginning writer, it's like, I got an idea and I figured it out, so this is how I'm going to do it. And I found that, like, with pro writers that I work with that mentored me, we just sit around and talk, like, okay, how could we set this up? Well, we could take this way. Cool. Or what about if we do it this way? And I'm like, oh, that's a better idea. Or there's all these different ways to set it up. And then once you set it up, it's almost like you have an outline, and now it's way easier to write that way.
Do you know, you just evoked a memory that I literally haven't thought of this since that day, but when I was in 7th grade and I was trying out as a pole vaulter for the track team in my junior high, and the coach came over to me because he saw me totally blow my first attempt, and he said to me, drop the point 6 inches short of the corner of the box and let it slide in there. You get the momentum of the sliding, and then it kind of flips you over.
Cool.
It's analogous to that if somebody can show you that little thing, but you have to be open to it, you know?
Totally.
It's just, wow.
Yeah.
My coach is probably dead now. It was a long time ago, but it's so funny. How many years has it been since that
7th
happened?
grade?
Yeah, a long time.
Probably 10, 15?
Yeah.
Something around there. I don't. We round up or down or whatever.
What was it that you said right before that? You were talking about
how to set the song up and writing.
But you don't look at the first. You don't look at the first thing.
Yeah.
So that's what the coach was telling me. This is the way that came naturally to you, but think about it in a different way, and it worked.
Yeah. Find a different way.
Yeah.
Right. And then don't fall in love with everything that you do. Like, just
that's impossible. Hard.
Yeah. Right. But a lot of times it's like people want credit, and who cares? Like, is it about the song or is it about the credit? And to me, like, there are times where I go into a writer's room and, like, I might be producing it, or I might be writing the lyric or the melody, or maybe I'm just the track guy that day, or what. Like, who cares?
Just the track guy
or whatever. But I'm just saying, like, it's if I can be a part of this song coming out and into the world, to me, that's an honor. And I've had people mentor me and say, hey, James, do you want to be in on this? I've got this artist coming over. Would you like to write with them? And I'm like, heck yeah, right? Well, then, that was like 3 or 4 years ago. It's a guy from Nashville. And now this new record that I'm working on, by the grace of God, they gave me this project. And I was able to reach back out to this guy who helped me and say, hey, would you be interested in doing, 4 songs on this record?
Wow.
So that's relationship. So all of these things about, be teachable and reliable and persevere and team player, people that have helped me, I want to help them.
I saw something else in your notes that I specifically wanted to talk about. Oh, the pro tips for taxi members.
Oh, yeah. So let's make it personal for taxi members.
Yeah, because, I espouse these things all the time, and when I looked at it, I went, okay, James is saying what I keep saying, but you know what? I'm like the dad of Taxi.
Yeah.
Nobody really listens to their dad, so consider James your brother.
That's good. I love that.
Who came up with these on his own.
Totally.
Independently of me.
Yep. So you've already joined, or maybe not. I mean, some people could be on here that have not joined Taxi. That would be the first thing that I would highly recommend. Join Taxi. Just give it a year. Just give it 1 year. But give it don't just give it a year and take your catalog of CDs and songs that you wrote 10 years ago and try to make them fit to a listing and then judge whether Taxi works based on that or not. So that's number one, join Taxi. Number two, attend the free rally. I didn't attend the rally right away. I'm like, it's expensive. It's a plane ticket in a hotel. Yeah. The conference is free. The conference is free. It's free of charge, and it could be multiple thousands of dollars for this conference for what's available, but it's not. It's free. You get one-on-one mentoring, you get inspiration, you get relationship building, you have the opportunity to connect with people that will change your life like it happened to me. I'm like a living proof of it. Number three is Taxi TV. So hopefully there are people on it right now or people watching it later. This is a thing where you pick up these more tips from people in real time. Yeah. And then the other one is Taxi forums. I learned so much on the Taxi forums when I would get a return and then I would swallow my pride, and an hour later I'd go on the forums and I would see the people that got the forward. And then I would listen to their songs and I was like, And
you once told me that may have been the single greatest tool that Taxi offers, was going on the forward section of our forum, which is at forums with an S, forums.taxi.com, and listening to what other people had forwarded for the listing that you were not forwarded for, and that was a profound eye-opener for you.
And then figuring out, where did I miss it? And, if you have any wherewithal, Moxie, about you, which you do, obviously, because you're doing this, you analyze, and where did I miss it? And then I suggest next level is to write a new song based on the successful elements that you heard. Oh. So it's analyzing what worked, not copying.
Rather than beating the existing horse to get death. A new horse.
Exactly. Okay. And then write a new song while you're in the calibration of the things that were successful. And here's why. Because as a member, I was like, man, I feel like a listing just like this came through maybe last month or 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. Maybe it's the same listing or it's a really similar listing. And so what I did was I cataloged that song, and then I, because I had written it for that listing, and then I turned it in, and the forward rate was off the chart. Because I did also admittedly keep track of forwards and returns. Well, and my percentage rate, and I was sure that certain screeners hated me. Again, I was obsessive about it. So,
but now that you've seen behind the curtain, James has become part of the family, just through our personal connection and being very involved at the road rally and stuff. And you know that there's no subterfuge, no hocus pocus going on behind it. And it really bothers me. I probably shouldn't let it bother me so much, but it bothers me when people say that screeners really got it in for me. No. Because the screeners, to some degree, what do they care? They're listening to a song within a context. Yeah. They're not going, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah, it's James again.
Right. Let's hold him.
Guy's so annoying.
Let's hold him back. Let's hurt him. Yeah. They just don't think like that.
No, I would actually suggest the opposite, because I have had the opportunity to screen.
Yep.
And recently started screening, and when I get the opportunity to forward a song, I am so excited. It just makes me juiced. I come from the point of I want to forward.
That's what I've been telling people for 27 years. Every screener who sits in that seat, if for no other reason, it's just easier to forward one, but real reason is it gives them joy to know that somebody's going to open that email and find out they were forwarded, and that a deal could come from it, and that they had a part in that.
Totally.
Yeah.
And just to be 100% clear, after you get a forward, it goes to the company, the listing company, or the listing publisher, or supervisor, whatever, and it's up to them then to contact you. And super important, you just let that happen organically. Under no circumstances try to figure out who it is or reach out to them. They will reach out to you, I promise. And there have been times, there was a guy that I did a reggaeton thing for, and it was over a year later he reached out to me. A year. It was over a year.
We have a record. I think 7 years is the longest time it's ever taken
Really?
somebody to be contacted. That was a rare circumstance.
And I got like a really substantial deal from this.
Wow.
From over a year later. And so, but anyway, they will contact you, and then Taxi's like totally out of it. So this is where my tips come in, where it's like, okay, now just be honest, be humble, try to find a connection with somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't be desperate. Like, just...
Oh, that's a great piece of advice.
You know, just be...
And people go to the other extreme when they're feeling desperate and nervous and unknowledgeable and scared and timid. All those emotions are coming into it. They counterintuitively react badly by acting overly cocky.
Yeah, totally.
And I personally have had phone calls from publishers that say, I wanted to sign this thing, and the guy was such a jerk on the phone.
Right. Can't
that
do it.
I couldn't do business with him.
Can't do it.
And I know the person that publisher was talking about, not inherently a jerk, but was nervous and came across that way.
Right.
So
that's it.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things like, they're not tests, but getting signed, whether it's your song or your catalog or you as an artist or as a writer or whatever, like, people are watching and they're not testing you, but if they ask you to do something and it's not a big deal because maybe they don't recognize your name or if they treat you poorly, it just says something. So, if you're just like a nice person, or you, like, how do you make friends? I mean, to me, this is like not music stuff. This is like life stuff. Like, just be honest. And like, I used to go into label meetings, and the first thing I would say was, I don't know if what I have is what you need. I don't know if what I do fits. I've done my research. I know who you have on your roster, right? Because
important to know.
Super important, because why would I spend my time trying to get signed by somebody and they already have somebody like me?
Yeah,
it's a colossal waste of everybody's time. Like, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing right now. I'd love to play you, 1 or 2 songs if that's cool. But I'm not here to say that I'm the answer to all your problems.
A lot of people go into meetings like that,
Yeah, totally.
I've got you hit right here, baby.
It's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, you might have the hit, but they're not going to hear it that way because they hate you now.
Right, exactly. And the other thing is that a broken clock is right twice a day. Anybody can get lightning in a bottle. Like, people want consistently great stuff. Like, I mean, how do you quantify like what's going to be a hit? Like, it has certain qualities, but there's other things that you just don't know.
Right.
But can you write consistently great material? Can you produce consistently great? Do you have consistently great hooks or titles or lyrics or whatever your lane is? If you're consistent, if you could just do it one time, that's cool. But if you can do it 7 days a week,
one time is fairy dust. 7 days a week is sugar on top.
There it is.
That's it. They're both granular. They both sparkle, but one of them is exceedingly rare, probably never obtained in most lifetimes.
Totally.
Sugar is something that you can put on top of everything and make it more desirable.
Yeah, you can. So the other thing I just wanted to hit real quick for people that will see this is that there are certain qualities and certain things that every super successful taxi member have in common. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of picked this up from listening and observing and then also implementing some of these things. So if you guys want to take it to the next level, here's what I would suggest. Number 1, attend the rally. Number 2, know what your lane is. So I've said some of this before. But I see a lot in listings and pitches. I write country and pop and hip hop and this and urban and Christian and like literally every genre.
People that say that.
Yeah.
And
it's like, well, you that's true. You might be able to write all those things, but you don't have anything great in any of them. Right. I mean, just to be real.
That's the biggest turnoff. Probably the worst thing you can say going into any pro level meeting is I do rock, I do pop, I do country, I do R&B. They immediately discount you before they hear the first.
It's amateur. It's an amateur thing to say, right?
Exactly.
And so this is probably the most important thing: writing for the listing. Write for the listing. And when I say it at mentor lunches and I say it to people, everybody's like, I don't have time or whatever.
It's going to stifle my art, or my creative juices. Or
but
whatever.
most of us, like as creators, like we work better under. Let's see. Here's the thing. Like under a hard deadline. If I have like a year to write a song, I'm gonna put it off for 11 months and 28 days.
Yep.
I mean,
we
right?
all would. Yeah.
But if I have 2 weeks to get it done, like I'm not gonna be jacking around with 808 bass drums for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna pick one. I'm gonna go, right? And I'm not gonna belabor every little point. So especially production wise. So the most successful Taxi members write for the listings, and every single one of us that have come through Taxi has that in common. And I even suggest, do you still do Dispatch?
Yeah.
Yeah. I suggest to people to join Dispatch also, because it actually ups the game, right? And I think it's really important. But to write a song for the listing, because then you refine, it makes you a better writer, a better producer. It makes you better at everything. If you are writing for the listing, it is very hard to take your existing catalog, especially if it's multiple years.
Square peg, round hole.
Right, and you're like, well, this is kind of pop, like
cognitive dissonance. I know it's not really right, but maybe they'll hear it and think it's so wonderful they'll use it in that slot.
Use it somewhere else. Yeah, that's not a good way to think. So, and even again, like reading the listings, listening to the ref songs. Super important, and then finding the common theme between all those ref songs. Like,
let's dwell on that for a moment, because
Yeah.
we talked about that at dinner last night.
Yeah.
Some people will take the approach that, the third reference is one that I like, it's one that I can relate to. That's what they're looking for, and they sit down and try to create something that sounds like the third reference,
Right.
rather than triangulating, taking those
Totally.
three references and going, what do they have in common? Well, let's see. It's kind of a carefree vocal approach.
Yeah.
It's like I'm having a great day and it's just fun to
Right.
be alive.
Right.
They're all approximately the same tempo. They're
Right.
all in a major key.
Right.
The melody
Smart.
has these types of intervals in
Right.
it. And you can
Right.
sit
Exactly.
down and analyze it and then go, okay, so that's the stew.
Yeah.
And these are the elements that go into the stew. Now, I'm not going to exactly make that stew, but I want to make something that would appeal to people that like that stew.
Right, and a lot of times in the critiques, well, I'm not going to say what I was saying, because then people know my number. But woo, just caught myself there. So I'm going to pass over that. But it is really important to understand the listings and read the listings carefully, and to make sure that it's true to the genre that you're writing. And like there are certain chords that are very, very common, like the one in the Nashville number system, like the 1, 4, 5, 6, and now the 2 chord is pretty common. Like outside of that, major 7th chords. Or dominant 7ths. Like, maybe on occasion, but again, I listen to so many songs where I was like, man, this is like a 70s song. It's a cool 70s song,
but that's not what they want.
We're not in the 70s right now, right? Yeah. So it's really important to be like, none of these songs sound like the song I'm going to submit sounds nothing like the ref songs. Mm-hmm. And it could, like you said, could be melody, could be lyric style. Lyric style is a big one too.
Yep.
Like, how is it conversational? Is it formal?
Where's the phrasing?
Is it relational? Yeah. Like all those but it could just be as simple as vibe. Like, man, these are up-tempo summer songs that are like roll your top down and drive down the PCH. So a California reference for you from a Green Bay guy. Woo!
It's better than shoveling your driveway.
That's for sure.
It's of course. Then again, we do have the occasional fire, flood, earthquake, or a million other things out here.
Yeah,
my dad loves to remind me of.
So so those are things that, again, if you read and you listen to the successful members, like, they're saying the same thing, but they're using their words and their voice to say it. But everybody has followed the same blueprint. And so if you really want to succeed at Taxi and get deals, like, I have got legitimate, like, incredible deals because of Taxi music, and it's changed my life. It took a while to figure it out, and I think it takes a lot of humility and hard work. But anybody can. Like, if I can do it sitting in Green Bay, I still live in Green Bay. So if I can sit in my little studio in Green Bay and do a song that, like, makes it to the radio, like, I don't know why anybody else can't do it.
Tell us about the stadium gig.
Oh man,
this he wouldn't have brought this up on his own, but that had to be a moment right there, man.
Oh, so wow, was it ever? So this summer I wrote a song called "This Changes Everything," and it was part of this thing called the ELCA, and they do this thing called a mass gathering every 3 years, which I had no idea any of this was going to transpire. Like, I'd never even heard of it.
You knew about the gathering or not?
No, I knew nothing about. Okay. I knew nothing about nothing, but the way it came through was through a relationship from a guy that I met at Taxi. Like, it goes all the way back to Taxi and 5 years ago, right?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he connected me with another person who opened up this opportunity. So basically, I wrote this song, and they selected it to be their theme song for this big rally, and then I had to like write out the music and whatever, and they said, we would love for you to come perform it, and we'd love to pay you and pay all your expenses. And I was like, yes, this is awesome.
Where was it?
In Houston, Texas.
Okay.
And it was at the Energy Stadium, like the stadium, so there was like 33,000 some odd people there.
Were you scared to death?
Okay, so this is going to sound weird, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but like 25 years ago, I believe in like visualization, like athletes do that, right? And so I was playing my keyboard one time, and I was visualizing, and my eyes closed, and I saw this stadium, and I'm like, okay, I gotta. What musician doesn't see themselves in a stadium, right? And even at that point, I'm like, I am the most prideful person in the world, and so. But I just continued with it, and I saw there were 2 decks, and I'm like, but I couldn't hear the song, but I knew that people were singing it, and I'm like, that would be that my lifetime dream fulfilled right there.
Wow.
So then when this thing happened and we showed up in Houston, Texas, I walked out, and it was in the end zone, and it was like a full on, like everything, and I was thinking the Energy Stadium, like I'm gonna be singing there, and everybody knows they're going to know the song. They're going to be singing along with me. But I don't think they have 2 decks at that stadium, so I must have just, and maybe I'm forgetting, I don't want to get hung up in the details. And I walked out on the main stage, and I looked, and I saw the 2 decks, and I just started crying. Like,
wow.
This is, so to experience it and to have that opportunity and that dream fulfilled, and to hear the sound of that many people singing a song that I was privileged to write, was like,
it had to be.
It was like
it
was like heaven.
I'm getting teary-eyed thinking about it.
It was honestly just overwhelming. It was so.
You didn't need a plane to go home, did you?
No, I did.
Floated back to Green Bay.
I did. It was just incredible. So,
well, congratulations.
Thank you. It was just a huge honor, and I'm humbled by it. So,
wow.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say other than I was just glad to be a part of it.
I'm glad. Knowing you as well as I do, and even if I did know you, for anybody to realize a life dream, I mean, that's like, the number 1 thing on your bucket list.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was
Most
incredible.
people never get to experience anything like that.
So it was a great summer. It was a great summer. Yeah. But again, like I really point that back to, my faith. I believe my faith there's a component there. But I think it's relationship. Like, it's relationship that happened through a Taxi mentor that continued, and from a guy in Nashville, and like the biggest things that have happened for me in my life.
Is that Steve?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to mention his last name, but Steve, you're a good man.
Yeah. But all that stuff has happened through relationship. It hasn't been like I had the right song and like this person was magically looking for me and I for them. It was just through relationship with somebody that was real, and something great happened because of it. But I could never have known that at the time. Like, I had let that dream go so long ago, and that's part of it too, that I was like, man, I'm a middle-aged man. Like, I'm not going to be singing in front of any more than not very many people anymore.
Well, NSYNC is back.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, but I'm interested.
Didn't they just
make some calls?
Backstreet Boys. Sorry, Backstreet Boys just came back together. So speaking of middle-aged men,
I'm cool. I'm happy. Backstreet's back, all right, man. Introducing James Kocian.
Andrea must be thrilled. That was her favorite band in the world. Andrea, who used to work here, she actually got some stuff cut on a couple of their albums.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I want to carve out some time to do some Q&A with the folks. I've been not paying very much attention to you guys in the chat room today. So hello, how are you guys? It's hard to see because we had to move the computer back fairly far to get us both in the shot today. Is there anything on here that we absolutely should cover before we go to live Q&A?
No,
you know what?
I think we're good.
let's do these last few bullet points. What I learned as an A&R person. James is doing A&R for Street Lamp, which is Shirelli's label.
Yep.
He's just recently started screening Christian stuff at Taxi, so he's getting to see, after being a member for many years, and he's not a member right now. So if anybody wants to say, oh, he's a screener and he's a member, so he's going to get preferential treatment, no. We cannot let members be screeners. So just so you know. But what I learned as an A&R person that I wish I knew as an artist.
Yeah. Or as I call it, lessons I learned the hard way.
Yeah, what are those?
Right?
Because you've been on both sides of the fence. Not very many people experience that.
So the one I already mentioned, which is like do your homework and learn their roster, because they have a roster. So I spent a lot of time developing relationships with people, and I was working with certain labels and publishers, and I just was never getting signed. And I couldn't figure it out, and then I looked at their roster, and I'm like, oh, well, they have somebody who does exactly what I do. So they were giving me work, but it was more like project work rather than like, we want to bring you in the fold. Like, I could have saved myself a lot of time and money by learning with what I do that it fits where I'm trying to land. So the other thing is that go slow. Like,
explain that.
So I see at the rally every year, like, there's a certain mentality that's like, I want to get discovered and I want to get famous and whatever.
It's my first rally. I've made the commitment. I bought the plane ticket. I'm paying for the hotel room. Damn it, this better pay off for me.
Yeah.
So here's my CD.
Yeah.
Here's my
famous.
CD.
Yeah. Totally, right? So people want to see consistently high quality output over time. So maybe you have written a smash. I mean, that's awesome. But again, was it lightning in a bottle? Can you write or produce great material regularly?
Right.
Super important. Don't be defensive or dismissive. That one's hard for me because I'm just kind of, I tend to be a defensive person. So
you'd never know it, but I mean, look, we're all defensive, especially when you're talking about something that's a creation that came from, the pores in your skin.
Yeah, totally. So like, I remember one of the first song critiques I did through like, Wisconsin Songwriters Association or something.
Oh, WAMA.
Yeah.
I was actually a judge at a WAMA event one year.
Yeah. I recognize your face. I think you raked my song over the coals now that I recall. I'm kidding.
I remember. I loved that weekend in Milwaukee.
So like I would think, well, this person, they do children's music, so they can't possibly understand pop music. So they were like raking my lyric over the coal, and I was like, oh man, forget them. And then they this, and I'm like, had them all cut down to size. But here's the thing, just because a pro doesn't work in your genre or discipline doesn't mean they don't know music. Right? I mean, so I've learned a lot from pros that work outside my genre because they're pros. So if I have an attitude that shows that I'm hungry to learn from everyone, like that means a lot to people at record companies, publishers, and A&R people.
They want to be around you.
Totally. This is simple. I talk about a lot, but just be grateful. Like, nobody deserves anything. Like, it's so presumptuous to walk in and be like, you need to sign me. And I was like, well, bye.
Entitlement is so rampant in all forms of creativity and artistry. A lot of people believe that you pop out of your mommy's tummy and that you're entitled to be a hit songwriter or entitled to be a hit artist because that's what you've wanted your whole life. And therefore, I want it so badly, I'm entitled to it.
That it matters,
Forget
about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So you want to strive to build relationships and connect with people personally over promoting yourself. Just be genuine and sincere. Be easy to work with. No drama. Like that's the thing that we in the Highfields and Rob, we talk just no drama.
Yep.
Like we've done that. We've done the drama with artists, and it's draining and it's hard and just no. Like you only have so many hours in the day. Like we don't want to have to deal with that, and nobody wants to deal with that. So I want to hang out with I want to connect with people professionally that like I want to have a cookout with. Like I want them to know my family, and I want to know your family. Like. To me, that's just simple. And then focus on great songs over production.
Oh.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, but elaborate on that one.
Okay.
That's a really big one. They're all really big.
So, like, production is a black hole. It's a trap, and I'm in it. So I speak with experience. But, Waves and all these other amazing companies that I love, and they've been good to me and others, like they run these promotions and it's like, oh my gosh, the new J37 is on sale for only $99 instead of $4.99. I gotta get it, and it's gonna change all my mixes. And then so like we just get caught in the new Omnisphere and the new Nexus and the Silent and right, or the new Taylor or Martin or whatever. and then we like, I have to get this stuff to make my sound like it's on radio. And I'm spending all this time trying to learn this gear, and what I'm not spending time doing is learning songwriting techniques.
I've never met a piece of gear that got anybody signed to a record.
Exactly.
Not one.
Exactly. Like I prefer, and I've heard this and I never understood it, but like a piano vocal or a guitar vocal, like a good clean demo with like little to no reverb, and just give me a clean lyric sheet and like, I'll know, like if it's there. And here's the other thing. Some people will spend so much time in production, and then like, if I'm going to produce a song, I'll ask for your stems, but I'm going to take that thing down to its bare bones and I'm going to do what I do. Mm-hmm. So you're doing my job for me, right? Like I don't do Rob's job for him. I could spend 100 hours trying to make it sound like he does, and he can do it in the time that he does it because he's gifted.
Right.
So
and practiced.
Yeah, exactly. Right, totally. So
he did call me once at 3:00 in the morning and say, "How do I record a saxophone?"
Really?
Yeah. So he is a learner.
Yeah, exactly. He's a learner. So, and that's the time to find out at 3 a.m. Right? That's a good time to ask that question. But focus on great songs. Like, I mean, to me, it's just all about the song. And if you add even simple production to great songs, it's going to take it to a new stratosphere. But you can add amazing productions to crappy songs, and it'll make them sound current, but they're still crummy
better
songs.
sounding crappy songs.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make a hit just because of that. And I can hear everybody, well, listen to the radio and whatever, but like, I like the radio. I mean, I'm sorry. Like, I think there's great music there, and I'm intrigued by it. Like, I'm intrigued by the charts, and I love music.
On the way to the NAMM show, it's about an hour and 20 minutes from my house down to Anaheim where the NAMM show was. I didn't make any phone calls. I just turned on whatever, the contemporary top 40 radio station is in L.A. and listened to every song. They did repeat a lot. I will agree with the people that say, it's the same songs over and over.
Yeah.
There's a lot of quality on the charts right now.
Totally. Amazing.
There are a few songs on there that you just cringe at, but for the most part, I'm like, wow.
But I mean, there's some amazing like writers like Maren Morris, and I mean, there's like, I mean, come on, man, they're like massively great songs.
Yeah.
And I hear those songs, and I'm like, I wish I would have wrote that.
But
you name the kids, and I'll name the dogs. I was like, dang,
if people,
it's a great hook, man.
Close themselves off because they've heard a few things on the radio that they can't. A lot of times they hear stuff and they don't like it because they can't do it.
Yeah.
And the reason they can't do it is they won't invest the time to learn how to do it.
Right.
Because they have the basic skill set already.
Yeah.
They have the hands. They probably have the chops. What they don't have is the knowledge of the intervals or the voicings of the chords or the phrasings of vocal phrasings that are contemporary. And it's like, oh no, I've spent my whole life learning it this way. I don't want to relearn it. You're so close already.
You're out. Yeah. But you could spend half an hour a day, like just figuring out the chords. It's like 1, 6, 4, or 2, 5, or whatever. Like, so that'll take you 5 minutes to figure out a chord chart, and then just analyze the melody and analyze the chorus melody. Where are they starting off the root, the third, or the fifth, or maybe the sixth? And where does it go? Just like analyze it.
Yeah.
And if you do that simple exercise, you will modernize your melodies, just like that.
Yeah.
So those are my tips.
It's not rocket science, but it needs to be paid attention to. And people want to ignore it and then still get the same result.
Right. It's not going to happen.
No. There's a 1 in a million chance, but those aren't good odds.
Right.
Not good at all. All right. So we've got 17 minutes. If you guys would like, you know what? I'm going to play a song that I don't know that I've ever played for you.
Is this one of your songs?
No, me as a writer.
Oh, yeah,
no. This is Ralph Murphy.
Oh yeah.
Once gave me this. I got to go find it actually, and said this is the best piano vocal demo I've ever heard, and I've kept it in my office. I've played it on the show several times. So you guys start giving your questions, and Bria will take them down. We'll get to them in a moment. But while that's happening,
okay, so
I'll play this more for you than I am for the audience, because. This song eventually got cut and was a hit for Rascal Flatts. Thank you.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, we'll definitely take questions here
momentarily in about 3 minutes. Is this thing? Oh, good. It does have a better.
Okay. Oh, that's a good question.
Give some it.
I can hear the truck tires coming. comes the last time. Here comes the start of every sleepless night, the first of every tear I'm gonna cry. Here comes the pain. Here comes me wishing things had never changed, and she was right here in my arms tonight. But here comes goodbye. I can hear her say I love you like it was yesterday, and I can see it written on her face that she had never felt this way. One day I thought I'd see her with her daddy by her side, and violins would play. Here comes the bride, but here comes goodbye. Here comes the last time. Here comes the start of every sleepless night, the first of every tear I'm gonna cry. Here comes the pain. Here comes me wishing things had never changed, and she was right here in my arms tonight. Here comes goodbye. Why does it have to go from good to gone before the lights turn on and you're left alone, all alone? Here comes goodbye. Here comes the last time. Here comes the start of every sleepless night, the first of every tear I'm gonna cry. Here comes the pain. Here comes me wishing things had never changed, and she was right here in my arms tonight. Here comes goodbye.
That's incredible. Forward.
I've heard that song 1,000 times.
Okay, so let me break down why that works real
Yeah.
quick. It's a simple piano vocal.
Doesn't get any more simple.
It doesn't, but it's still incredibly well done. It's a great singer. So if you are not the right singer to represent your song, find one who is. The lyric is visual. That's a huge, huge thing.
That's the first thing I said to James. The truck
Yeah.
tires coming up the gravel road.
Yeah, it's a visual
You
lyric.
know what that sounds like, and you can see the tire.
Yep, totally. So also they're pitching to the sound of the artist.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a Rascal Flatts or a Dan and Shay pitch, who is
They did know that they were writing this for Rascal
exactly.
Flatts.
So you get a singer to interpret the song the same way as that artist would,
which makes it easy for the artist to visualize him or herself doing it. Yeah.
It's got a great hook, the title, which Here Comes Goodbye. It's emotional, it's relatable, and it's believable. The song structure is dead on for Nashville, which is an intro that has an interlude. So, like in the production of it, that would be the production line. There's always a line that the guitar or string or whatever plays. Then you got verse 1, chorus 1. Then you go back to you go back to that verse 2, chorus 2, bridge, a break where it got quiet. Such a Nashville thing.
Yep.
Chorus 3, and then the interlude going out. So it follows. It plays by all the rules.
It
works on every level.
People go, "Oh, that's formulaic." You know what? It works because
great.
it's formulaic. Yeah.
I wish I'd written it.
That's right. People spend a lifetime learning to work within that formula and make it sound like it wasn't formulaic.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so...
Okay, do you have any questions written down?
I do.
Okay. I'll repeat them after you say them, just because they won't be able to...
So this one kind of goes with this, so I'll say this one first.
Okay.
My voice is not at the level of the track we just heard. What's the best way to write and record for listings?
Nobody's voice is at that level. That dude
Hire a
gets it.
singer each time. Just do the best I can with my own voice.
So the question was, I'm repeating because Bria's on the backside of the microphone. You probably can't hear all that well, but the gentleman, I'm assuming it's a gentleman, said, my voice isn't at that level. What do I do when I'm recording demos? Do I hire a singer?
Yeah. So my answer would be it depends on the listing. It depends on the opportunity.
Use the taxi community.
Yeah.
The people you're meeting in this chat room, the people you meet on the forum.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's incredible singers in taxi. And, you know, you can hire somebody, yes, or you can trade. So whatever you do, let's say maybe you want to bring somebody in to interpret your melody. Like maybe you could bring in a great singer and then give them writer's share, and then you're like the lyric person. You get creative with that where you start to build a collaborative relationship. You can hire somebody through taxi or in your community that's a good singer. You don't have to go to LA or Nashville to hire people. There's great singers all over. That is a super high quality pro level singer. I've heard demos of singers that weren't that good, but the song is great. And, you know, people that are looking for songs can hear a great song.
Also, sometimes songwriters who are not great singers, the interpretation, the way they sing the song conveys the emotion because they know it so intimately that can make up for the lack of quality. This guy, he's exceptional.
Yeah. Well, he phrased it like Rascal Flatts or Dan and Shay too. I mean, phrasing is like that's a whole nother taxi TV thing, which we won't get into now. But, you know, phrasing is how you sing the line is as important as what the line is sometimes.
Yeah.
Breaking it up the right way. And the basic thing I'll say is sing it the way you say it. And again, there's always, you know, what about Katy Perry with Unconditional? I get it. But that was way after she had a monster hits. Sing the song sing the line the way that you talk it, so it sounds natural.
Yep.
That'll help the lyric come alive.
All right, next question, please.
All right. How do you strike a balance between being unique and fitting in regards to approaching a music library?
Ooh, that's a good question.
How do you say it again?
How do you strike a balance between being unique and fitting in regards to approaching a music
How do you
library?
strike a balance between being unique and fitting?
And fitting in.
Right,
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you approach a music library. Because for people who are watching the show that aren't already taxi members, a music library is a publisher that's film and TV centric. It's kind of a generic term for those. And they want stuff, they're not looking for material that's like, wow, that's the greatest, most innovative thing I've ever heard,
Right.
because they won't be able to get it placed. So they want stuff that sounds like everything else, but doesn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tough one.
It is a tough one. My suggestion would be to take what you're doing and then take the a-las from maybe the listings that you've submit to and put a playlist together like on Apple Music or Spotify, and then put your song in there with them. And when your song comes out, or maybe like ask somebody that you trust that's not like your biggest fan ever, to just make sure that it sonically and vocally and lyrically is in the same ballpark as these songs. It's going to be unique anyway because it's your song. And so the way you interpret a song is going to be the way you do it. So there's going to be certain things that you want to do, like certain rules. Like when I wrote down, you know, the structure. So you want to follow like the structure rules, and that's how you fit in. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want to have a 3-minute chorus. You know, maybe you can start off with a chorus. I mean, you can do that sometimes, but generally it's verse 1, chorus. I mean, maybe a little short bridge or pre-chorus, but generally you want to get to the chorus as quickly as possible. But it just depends. Yeah.
There was the woman, Laurel Ostrander, who was the video editor that started out last year's Road Rally. Yeah. She gave one of the greatest pieces of advice that I've ever heard given at a road rally, and it went over the heads of a lot of people because she said it, and just in passing, she said, I particularly like, and I'm paraphrasing here, but she said, I particularly like using pieces of music that have some sort of drum turnaround or something, and it literally like, boom, 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 and because they can use that when they're editing to introduce a scene, or maybe to close out, punctuate a moment in the scene before and then lead into the next scene.
And imagine like where your song is going to go. If it's going to go in a TV show, think about like clean break edit points, you know?
Right.
Like think about, so like maybe this 8 bars has this, and then I introduce something else in the arrangement and something else, and it keeps building. So the music supervisor, it's about making that person's job easier.
Yeah. Next question, please.
Right. Gloria asks, what chord progressions are used for current contemporary Christian compared to contemporary gospel?
Oh, great question. Oh my gosh.
Gloria Covington.
Yeah,
wants
I
to
love
know
her.
Chord progressions that work well for contemporary Christian versus contemporary gospel.
Yeah. So in pop music, there's just a lot of minor and like starting on the 6, or even like starting to go 4, 5, 6, and then maybe hitting the 1 like maybe as the 3rd or 4th chord, but not like always going back to the root.
Interesting.
In Christian music, it's, and I hate to say this, but it's usually a few years behind where pop music is. So Christian music is still in the majors. So like the 1, 4, 5s, 6 is pretty much used as a minor, and then 2, but it's usually transitional, whereas pop will use a 2 and just like sit on it, right, and then go wherever it's going to go. Like in Christian music, it's used as a transitional chord going up to the 4. So in contemporary gospel music, now that is a different beast altogether, because those are very closely related to R&B and jazz and neo soul. So the chords that are used are more complex, and the
voicings.
Yes, absolutely. Like contemporary gospel musicians are like, whoa, they're just like another level. So not to say that you can't have a song that's maybe more 1, 4, 5 or whatever. You absolutely can, but then your melodies are going to be way more. They're going to have a lot more movement and more complexity to them than a CCM song or a pop song. It's going to be less engaging singing-wise. It's going to be more about the message and kind of the wall of sound that you're getting from your vocal performance.
Does gospel, in contemporary gospel, because I'm not very knowledgeable about the genre in the context of today. I know more, like old school tent gospel.
Oh, yeah.
With a large choir singing.
Right.
Is contemporary gospel that makes it to radio today on CCM stations, is it still the big choir singing, or can it be a solo artist?
It can absolutely be a solo artist. There's not a ton of contemporary gospel on
radio. Yeah.
CCM radio. CCM radio is a pretty narrow. Like K-Love is kind of the national syndicate, but there's like Tori Kelly, and who partnered with Kirk Franklin, and they did a powerful song, Not Alone.
And Rob Shirley just got a Grammy
for it, right? Yeah. Exactly. So that's Kirk's thing, where he uses these choirs, and he gets a certain sound, but it's not the same sound as it used to be. I would say contemporary gospel is more forward and creative and a little more loose as far as the rules are concerned, rather than today's CCM.
I just heard somebody crack a joke at this past year's road rally.
Yeah.
2 guys standing near the bar, and one guy said, this is a true story, one guy says to the other guy, what's one of the hallmarks of contemporary Christian music? And the other guy says, it's very forgiving.
That's good. That's awesome.
I literally just walked by and heard that much of the whole conversation.
Awesome. That's all you needed.
Laughed all the way to the
I mean, I would suggest to really dial in, again, to the charts, like, and the Billboard charts, and on iTunes. iTunes is like religious and Christian, but like there's a Sirius satellite radio station called Kirk Franklin's, and like he programs it, and so you just dial into that, and you have to get your ear and your heart calibrated to that way of melody, that kind of lyric, that kind of approach.
You absorb it through osmosis if you just expose yourself to it enough.
Exactly.
You don't have to work that hard at it, just live with it long enough, you know?
And like, I mean, modern country is like pop music, really. I mean, you'll hear stuff on modern country that's like, is this country? Like, what makes a country? And what makes a country is the lyric.
Mm-hmm.
It's
the attitude.
Totally. It's just the lyric.
But
the production
do you sound
is pop.
believable as somebody who's lived the life that song took place in? That's country.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I get work in country, not because I'm not country at all, but because I have the pop tendencies. So country is pop. So, and then it works across all genres.
Not bad for a kid from Green Bay.
I guess. Yeah.
Let's go 5 minutes long, if that's okay with you guys. I'm okay with you. Gotten another question?
Yeah. JR asks, what's the best way to build a relationship with a publisher?
Oh man, what a great question.
That'll get you arrested in some towns.
Yeah. Right.
Best way to build a relationship with a publisher.
Man, that's a really great question. It's hard to make a cold call to a publisher and try to establish a relationship with them. Most publishers do not accept unsolicited submissions. So I know it sounds like a infomercial, but the publishers that I know have come almost exclusively because of Taxi Music. So when I would get a forward and it went to a publisher and a publisher reached out to me, then to me that was kind of like when the work started, where it was like, okay, now I got to figure out like who they are, because it might not have said in the forward certificate. And so then they tell me about themselves, and then they ask me about what I do, and then we see if there's a fit, because they want that song, but inevitably they ask the most important question ever, which is, do you have anything else?
Right.
And you always want that answer to be, yes, I do.
And you don't want to say, yes, I do. I do rock, I do pop, I do country.
Worst answer ever.
Whatever lane they love you in, think of whatever you've got in that lane and give them more.
Yeah, totally. 100%.
A lot of people miss that because they want to show that they're versatile.
But they don't want versatile. They want this thing. They want this thing that you're doing.
Yeah.
Just do that thing. Can you please do that thing for me?
Absolutely. That's the same thing when they hire actors and actresses, or they hire models. You get hired because you've got a look, or you've got a certain attitude or presence.
And that's your thing.
Yeah.
So back to that other question about a unique voice. Like, we want your unique voice. We just don't want it so unique that it doesn't fit within the parameters of what the public.
If people are making this face when they're listening, then that's a little too unique.
It's not good. So I guess I'm saying it's up to the publisher probably at first to reach out to you. But again, at the Taxi Rally, there are people that are connected to publishers, people that are publishers. So go through your mentor bios and read them. And like, some of them are like super long and super impressive. And again, for me, I was always like, who is somebody that's kind of in it right now that like I could be connected to, you know, that I think we would vibe together well. So do that. Like, come to the rally, try to pick the right people, go to the mentor lunch. Again, that's something all successful members do. Go to the mentor lunch.
Watch the personalities of the people on the panels and see who you feel that you'd be comfortable in a conversation
Exactly.
with. Walk up to that person in the restaurant, at the hotel, or the bar, or the hallway outside the ballroom, and say, man, you were great on the panel. Where did you grow up, and how did you end up in this business? Because everybody loves to talk about themselves.
Exactly.
And if you're genuinely curious, like, dude, you're a music supervisor on Major Motion Pictures, yet you're from Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah.
How did that happen? Because, you know, Warner Brothers Pictures didn't go to Peoria and say, anybody here want to be a music supervisor? They will love telling you that story, and then they're going to turn to you. So tell me about you. What kind of music do you do?
Right. Like, one of my first rallies, I went up to somebody, because people get bombarded after the main stage.
Panels, yeah.
And I went up to him and I said, you know, I can see that you're overwhelmed right now. And I don't know what you're looking for right now. And I'm not even sure what I do fits what you're looking for. But I would love to talk to you about it after the rally. And the guy looks up and he's like, what's your name? And I said, James. And he's like, can I have your card?
Wow.
I said, yeah. And he goes, I'm putting this in my front pocket. And we're talking. Because it was just a different approach.
Yeah.
Right?
Other than, I've got the great... Everybody tells me this is the best song ever. You should hear it.
Like, that's the worst thing to say.
Yeah.
Because how do you know what I think is a great song? Right? It might be a great song, but I might think it's not that great.
Yep.
So now what? So, yeah, I think it's just relational, and you put yourself in the position to interact with people, and then when you have the opportunity, just be you. Just be you. I mean, is that a good answer?
There's a lot to be said for genuineness and authenticity. People can smell phoniness and just all those bad things in a personality. They can smell it. They can feel it.
Yeah.
But, you know, you are a genuine guy, so you could walk up and recite the alphabet and they would get that vibe. And people who are not being genuine, you can smell that coming too.
Totally.
There's actually a guy at the Road Rally I know him, and he's a really nice guy. Easily identifiable in a crowd. He's got a unique look, and I don't mean that in a bad way. But when we go through the pictures after the rally, and there are thousands of them that the photographers give us, And this dude is in virtually every photograph, you know, handing a CD or a business card or shaking the hand.
Right.
Every panelist, after every single panel at every road rally, I walked up to him this year and I said, you got to do me a favor. Yeah. Because I've literally spent thousands of dollars on the photography for the rally. I said, I have to throw out a lot of shots because you would be in 7 out of 8 shots on a web page.
Right.
Can you wait until the photographer has done their thing before you descend on these people? And one of the panelists overheard me having that conversation with them, and he came up to me, and sorry if you're watching the show, and he came up to me and said, it's obnoxious. That guy, every year when I do a panel, is standing right there. Right. So they even remember from year to year.
Yeah, totally.
So be cool.
Yeah, just
be cool, people.
These are just real people too.
Yeah, they are real people. You know what? They are not gods. They are not on some pedestal.
And like I want, like, it's a reciprocal relationship. Like I am looking for certain things, and I want to be able to find it. Like I want to be able to help people.
Yeah.
Because people have helped me. So they didn't have to. Like Rob doesn't have to do what he does, and you didn't have to, and like all these people didn't have to do it. But
you make it easy.
Well,
people want to do nice things for you because you're a nice person. You're not full of, you know what? One more question.
Sorry, just I was going out of order.
Bria fell asleep.
Bria did fall asleep because she did not kick me under the table, not even once, to say subscribe. No, other corner, down there, right there. That's where you want to be clicking that subscribe button. Make sure you like us. There you go.
There you go. I almost have the same color shirt on.
Share it.
Share it. Ring the bell.
Ring the bell, damn it. Ring that bell. I don't know what it is.
I'm not sure what that means.
They make the signs, they tell me to hold them up like follow orders. And the question is...
Okay. Other than Taxi TV, do you subscribe to any other pro musician channels for inspiration?
What a super question that is.
And the answer is no. This is the only one worth watching.
Oh, no, Ron just said go Pack Go. Man, I love Ron. No, actually.
I actually do.
But here, I don't subscribe to the channels, but, you know, YouTube is an incredible resource.
Unbelievable.
Like,
how did people get through life without YouTube?
I mean, the ASCAP Make Music Expo a few years ago, they had Dr. Luke on, and he was... Like, he busted down the Katy Perry hits in the Pro Tools session. He just opened it up, and he sat there for an hour and a half, and he's like, yeah, you know, I put everything on stems, and I don't use MIDI, and here's why, and I move it around, and I'm just like, is this seriously happening right now? So there are some incredible publications that come out of the UK. Oh, man, I always say this one, and now I forget. Something music, boy, that's really helpful.
Yeah, that really
super helpful. But like, if you go to like Barnes and Noble, they sell their magazines and they come with a CD.
Oh, not. I was thinking of Sound on Sound.
No. It comes out of the UK. It's really expensive because they include all these samples. But the point of this is they have a YouTube channel and they do all these interviews with all these producers, and they'll open up, because I'm a Logic guy, so they'll open up these Logic sessions and they'll break down every plugin they use and how they EQ'd it and everything. So, I mean, my best advice is to just go on YouTube and, like, whatever you want to learn, generally production-wise, lyric-wise, song-wise, like, it's there. Like, you just spend time
learning. Our children know this.
Yeah.
The grown-ups have to learn it.
Yeah.
You know, my daughter Hannah, when she was starting out getting serious about songwriting around 14 years old, and she stopped me as I was walking into the garage to go to work one morning. She said, what do I need to do next to, like, become a real songwriter? And I said, learn to play an instrument.
Yeah.
Because right now you're just making stuff up and you remember it and it's really good, but learn to play guitar or keyboard. I got home that night. She could already play 3 chords on a guitar. And I said, how did you learn that? She goes, YouTube. Like, you idiot, don't you know? Yeah, By the end of it, that was like on a Tuesday night. By Saturday, she could play guitar better than I can, which ain't saying that much. Right. But it was all YouTube. Yeah. So I'm convinced anything you want to learn, YouTube's got a channel or a video.
And I will say this, I do know of other music, like, submission services and stuff like that. And I just have never found anything like Taxi Music. You know, I have some real legitimate concerns about some of them that are out there and the legitimacy, honestly, of them, without naming them by name. But I just would really highly recommend that you just, like, dig fully into taxi. And I mean, I see some really familiar names on here and people that are like really awesome at what they do.
I didn't ask you to say anything. Just
no, you did.
Family know that.
But I'm just saying, like, it worked for me, and I did. Like, I was like, well, what about this service, and what about that one, and what about the other one? Like, taxi's the one for me that opened up like all these doors, and that doesn't mean that I didn't make a little money here or there or whatever, because I did, but it never led to anything. It was just like a dead end. And taxi is the thing that like continues to pay dividends, not just financially, which is great, but relationally. Yeah. Like those are the kind, because music is, and it's cyclical. So, you know, I mean, now 2019 has been my best year by far, and it like in every way financially.
Only 6 or 7 weeks into it.
Yeah, but like financially, it has completely blown away all of 2018 so far.
Awesome.
I mean, by the grace of God, honestly. But I also know that you know, 2014 and 2013 and 12 and 11 and 10, they were really hard years, and there was a lot of years in the red. So it's not always going to be, you know, it's like real estate, right?
Yeah.
And so hopefully when things turn the other way, I've built relationships with people where they will still consider working with me. And so that I try to have a long-term vision for my life and career.
I don't think that they will consider working with you. I think they will desire to work with you.
I hope so. So, but the point is like, I don't know what the point is. The point is to just really work hard, and it's taxi that has opened these relationships and changed my life. And again, there's really nothing special about me. Like, I mean, I listen to Paul Otten and Helen Austin, and I would look at these people and I'm like, Matt Hurt, like, what an incredible guy. Like, and I'm thinking, I'm nothing like them. I can't, like, they're so far beyond me. Like, there's no way I can do what they do.
I don't know that that's true. You're each unique, and you each are beyond each other in your own individual
right,
way.
in the disciplines. But I looked at in their level of success.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like, but if I could even have like 1/10 of that, like I think I would be happy. And I realized that taxi's not a competition. Right. That's a like a major thing. Like more than one person can do well. Like we can all rise together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be just like one superstar. Actually,
reputationally, every year at the end of the road rally, Michael Lloyd always calls me the day after the road rally and says, dude, I'm going to say it again, the music was even better this year than it was last year, and it's so much better than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And the reason is because rising water floats all boats, and all the people that hang in for the duration and don't expect a miracle in 3 months or 6 months or a year, they've grown better together, they've grown better as a group, as a community, and the music industry has started to recognize that.
That's cool.
Here's a great example, and then we got to jump off here, but my wife is at the moment is in Israel, and she's visiting our kids over there, and I sent her on a mission to go meet with the music library that so cool. I heard about, and I thought, you know, they should be running listings with us. So she went to the meeting, and she thought she had to do a whole song and dance about how taxi works, and she opened her mouth and said, hi, my husband owns a company in the States called Taxi. And he goes, oh, I know Taxi. So 8,000 miles away, our reputation had preceded itself, and I think that the community has so much to do with that, because there's a marketing phrase, Seth Godin once, I believe, who's a kind of a pop marketing guru, once said, something needs to be, if it's good enough, it'll be remarkable, meaning one person will remark about it to another person. And I think that the taxi membership, the quality of the music on the whole has gotten so much better that people in the industry are remarking to each other about it.
Yes.
8,000 miles away.
It works.
Taxi, I know them.
It works. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, James, this has been awesome.
Thank you.
I love doing this even without the cameras being on. I just love hanging out with you.
I love hanging out with you guys too.
I love seeing your family, and man, continued success. I know it sounds cliche to say this, but I have no doubt that you will continue to be successful, because the way you're wired and your work ethic and your heart and all that good stuff. And so for those of you who wonder what the prescription is, you're looking at it right there in that chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Great to have you on the show, man.
2 hugs. Come on.
All right. 2 hugs.
World record.
All right, we will see you guys next week.
Thank you guys. Hang in there. You can do it. You can do it.
Next week, what are we doing? Next week is Aaron Jacobson, music attorney, and we will see you then for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Yeah, baby. Woo!